Hey everybody, I am making this video message and I want to tell you there will be a new angle of an attack of the enemy. The reason why I'm making this video message is because I need you all to understand and I need you all to know that the enemy is always going to devise different plans and he's going to use different strategies to trip you up and to set you up so he can creep in and attack you. Do not be ignorant to this. And the enemy actually steps his cookies up when you have let go of a certain sin, you've walked away from something or people that God have told you to walk away from, you've been obedient in a certain area, or you found out, you got a revelation about something that was hidden from you, and when you got the knowledge of it, you knew how to act accordingly. And so the enemy gets angry and the enemy gets mad. And so once he sees that he cannot attack you the same way, he comes through a new angle. He comes through a new angle. And you have to have the discernment. You have to be alert. And you have to pay attention to everything that is going on around you because you don't want to be blindsided by his strategies. Now listen, for a very long time, I believe it's probably been either 1 year or almost 1 year, I have on and off talked to you all about social media. And I have told you all to be careful what you post on social media. I have told you all to check your spirit. Always check your spirit and always pay attention to the intent behind why you want to post a particular thing. And so the enemy, he always will use social media as a way of attack. Last week, I talked to you all about a monitoring spirit, and I was explaining to you all in that video message. I broke it down, I dived deeper into it, and I explained to you all how people will sit back on social media and they will watch you. And so this is what I need you all to know. I'm going to refresh your memory on something because I'm led to talk about this again. When you begin to share a lot of your personal private life on social media and you are very, very proud. I'm not talking about you're proud that you got a win or you're proud that you got a breakthrough. I'm talking about the sin of pride, to where you want to showcase every single thing that you have in life. You want to constantly show your clothing. You want to constantly show your house or houses. You want to constantly show your cars. You want to constantly show off your husband or your wife or brag about how great your husband or your wife is. You're doing this repeatedly. I'm not talking about every now and then. It is not a crime. I have to make this very clear because I know a lot of you all are on the defensive. I know a lot of you all are very argumentative, and I know a lot of you all, you don't understand basic statements. You all will hear something stated and you will take that small part and you will personalize it and you will turn it into a debate. So I have to be very clear with this. But what I'm saying to you guys is, when you operate in the spirit of pride and you begin to brag, and your intent is to, as they say, stunt. You want to show people, you know what? You're broke. I have money. You're struggling. You don't have a place to stay. You got that old, outdated, beat up, raggedy car. But look, I have a luxury car. I own several businesses. My man is fine. My woman is fine. Whatever you all are out here doing, the enemy will use that very thing and do the complete opposite of what you're showing to the public on social media. I share with you all a story, a very real story, about a young lady that I went to school with. And for years and years, this girl was always, almost every other day, she was posting about everything her husband was doing for her. Every time they went out of town, she posted about it. She was constantly taking numerous, countless photos of her husband. It was like idolatry. It was like worship of her marriage. And she kept putting up pictures of her husband. She was even talking about very intricate details of how he would have to correct her and check her if she got off of work and she was too tired to cook a meal for him and their children. And so she would buy takeout food. And she kept posting about how her husband, this is a great example, that's why I use it. No shade to this young woman, but all I'm saying is that I have to tell you all this because I really believe that sometimes when God allows us to see the mistakes of other people, that protects us, and we should be wise and learn from that. It's never to look down on anybody or call them foolish or stupid. It's to protect us so we don't make the same mistakes. And I believe each one of us, if we're honest, we all have a cautionary tale that we can share with some people to help them. Some of us have numerous cautionary tales that have gone on in our life, and we can share our stories with different people to help them, to save them from making the choices and the mistakes that we have. So anyway, she was always taking pictures of her husband. She was always bragging about the trips they were taking. She was always talking about how he had to check her on not cooking and doing her wifely duties. And then she got to a higher level of pride to where she started talking down to single women. She started talking to different, she kept posting on her social media profile page about how she sees why women are single. They don't want to cook for their man. They don't want to clean up for their man. They want to backtalk their man, but she does everything her husband tells her to do. She is submissive to him, blah, blah, blah. And this was a woman of God. Both of them were actively in church. But one day, they both had announced on their pages that they were getting divorced, and it was a very ugly divorce. It was messy. People from high school were picking sides. People were talking bad about the husband, laughing at him. Some people talked bad about her and was laughing at her. And she's remarried now. But the point that I'm making is that I believe to the core of my soul that the enemy attacked her marriage. Because of her pride, the enemy was able to get in, and the monitoring spirits that were up there, it is no telling how many people spoke against that. When she started looking down on single women and talking about single women, there could have been somebody that got upset and they were ticked off and they cursed her marriage. They spoke against it. People will do this, and I'm not saying it's always going to work. When you are a child of God, no weapon formed shall prosper. An undeserving curse will not stick. I'm paraphrasing the Bible. But what I'm saying to you all is that when you are left open and you are vulnerable and you are operating in certain sins, the enemy is able to get in and finagle that. The enemy is able to get in and attack it. And it was a matter of time, and her marriage got attacked so bad to where they parted ways, and it was not amicable. There was also another guy that I went to school with. He kept posting about how fine his wife was. He was always posting pictures of her dressed real sexy, real seductive, real provocatively. He was always posting these photos of her. It was like he was worshiping this woman. And he would show pictures of her, show pictures of his house, show pictures of every time they went out of town. And one day they ended up getting a divorce. You all have to be careful with this stuff. And so I'm saying all of that to say that when you come into the understanding of, okay, because this is something I had to look at. I'm not going to get into the story right now, but it was something that I shared, okay? And after I shared it, certain things had got shut down behind the scenes. Certain things, I've talked about it in other videos. You all have to search through that. I'm not going to go through that right now. But it was something in particular that was being worked on. And you all know my mother is deceased. But at the time, me and my mother were working through some things. And after I shared this particular thing, I just knew from discernment that there were people that were monitoring the activity of what I kept posting, talking about when it came to this particular thing. Because shortly after that, my mother got sick and my mother ended up dying. Okay, now there's a lot to unpack with that. It was other things going on behind the scenes. But what I'm saying is that when people are monitoring you and when people are jealous of you or envious or they want to covet what you have no clue what they're praying against when it comes to you. You have no idea what they're doing behind the scenes. And so when I came to the understanding of, okay, so I'm noticing when I post about this or when I say this, that happens. I was even seeing certain things that I would talk about innocently. I would talk about it and post it. I would share a meme and I would say certain things. And when I would share it, I noticed when a memory would pop up, that particular thing would actually be actively going on in my life. And so I came to the understanding and got the revelation. This is how he's attacking me. I'm not doing this, or this. So he's trying to attack me through Facebook. He's literally trying to attack me through my social media. This is a real thing. And I want you all to pay attention to that. A lot of you all, it goes over your head. It goes over your head, but look at your memories. Look at something you may have posted on a memory. Look at the certain memes that you share. If you share a meme, even though you may be joking about it, and you share it, it could possibly really happen in real life. These are the ways that the enemy will attack. Who am I talking to? You may post a meme and say something like, oh, as a joke, because people, I'm silly too. People will post silly memes and say, oh, you know what? My toxic trait is that I believe I could represent myself in court. Now that meme is in circulation and it's meant to be a joke. But then if you found yourself in a situation where you're in court and you have no counsel, and you trying to represent yourself, go back to that memory. A lot of you all, you're not going to catch this, but this is a very real thing. And I could speak about it because I've lived it. I've experienced it. And so what I'm telling you all, when certain stuff that has never been attacked, it starts kicking up and you see stuff, you better understand that the enemy now is coming from a different angle. He's coming from a different angle. Sometimes he can't even touch you. So you know what he does next? He will try to go to your children. He will try to go to your family. He will try to come from an angle and attack you on your job. He will try to attack your body. He will try to attack your finances. This is a very real thing. You all better be very aware of what the enemy does. When you start seeing things in your life kick up that it has never kicked up, let's just say for the past 10, 15 years, you've never really had trials and tribulations with your family. You've had other attacks and other situations go down, but it's never too much really been with your marriage or your family. Now, all of a sudden, it seems like your spouse is cutting up. It seems like certain people in your family are cutting up. I would tell you all, pay attention to what you posting. Even when you joking sometimes, because a lot of that stuff, the enemy will get desperate and use it to bring it to pass in your life for real. This is why I'm saying a lot of you all, you got to start backing off of social media. Take a break. Be very careful but intentional with what you post and what you share. Cover all ends. Cover your family. Cover yourself. Cover your cars, your houses, your finances. Pray about these things. This is why I got more and more of the deep understanding in the word of God when he says pray without ceasing. We have to always pray without ceasing because the enemy is always on the prowl. He's always on the prowl. He's not asleep. He's not slumbering. He's not taking any breaks. He's not out to lunch or on vacation. He is always looking for a foothold to use to come in to try to slay you or to cause division, to cause confusion, or to have you operating in deception and ignorance. So, my beautiful brothers and sisters, just know he will use a different and new angle of attack. And he will do it now in this season because he understands that while we're in the season of exposure, we are also in the season where You're going to see a great divide. Is perversion, heavy perversion going on. You're seeing people hearts and intentions get exposed. But through all of that, God is also doing miracles, and he's blessing his people. God is raining down a lot of blessings. A lot of transformation is coming to different people's lives. And the enemy knows this. He understands it. He doesn't know all the details blow by blow, but he knows a lot. And so he will use an angle of attack. So if your angle is you're very strong, you're not fornicating, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you're not a gossip, you're not a liar, you forgive people, trust and believe, he's going to find whatever area is open or vulnerable, and he's going to try to attack it. What's the quickest way that he can attack? Through your social media. This has just been pressed on me for some reason to keep telling you all about this. You all get so angry about that. You all want to label it as hate. You all want to say what people can show what they want because they're happy. I'm not saying you can't. I never said it was wrong. I will post certain things. It's okay to show, okay, I won this, I did this, I did that, I got this. But you all have to learn. Maybe you should share this stuff after it takes place. But I would never be in agreement with somebody repeatedly talking about their marriage. I just feel like marriage and your children, they are so precious. They are so precious. You got to keep them covered. You literally have to keep them covered. And I stand on that. And so just know that the methods, new methods, brand new methods, the enemy is going to come with these new angles and these new methods. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to walk around paranoid, but just be aware, especially when you've walked away from something. Like I said, when you've given up sin and you say, you know what, I'm done doing this, whatever your sin of choice or sins of choice were, the enemy is going to use whatever he can. If your family's not covered, he's coming through the bloodline. If your job is not covered, he's coming through the job. If your friendships are not Trump tight and you're not praying about your friends and for your relationships with people, he's going to try to come through that. He's always going to try to come with a new method and a new strategy and a new angle. But I'm highlighting social media. Watch what you all are out here posting. Stop showing pictures of your houses. Stop showing pictures of your cars. Stop idolizing your husband or your wife. If you are dating and you're interested in it turning into marriage, stop always talking about their relationship. The full manifestation of their relationship has not yet taken place. So just be careful with that. Be careful with that. Because monitoring spirits are out here. Jealous people are out here. And sometimes the enemy himself, principalities, they see and know and understand what's going on. And if they can strike, if it's a door open, they will strike. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.